Good morning, ladies and gents. My name is Extermination, and welcome back for another episode, finally, of Let's Draw. Now, it's been a long time since I've done one of these. I can't exactly remember why I stopped doing them. I was like, oh, let's do one episode a month. I think that'll be good. And then 3 months later, all of a sudden, it's like, I don't have time to do this. But I got a suggestion from Envine, previously known as Red Skame, who's pretty much done all the other requests for all of these episodes so far, except for the second one. The second one was just me. Envine wanted me to draw something to do with Slender Man and one of my characters, like one of my characters fleeing Slender Man. But I'll do you one better. I think I'm gonna try to draw both Ruby and Kane from my webcomic series. If those of you who don't know, I have a webcomic series called Difference. It's my baby. It's my baby webcomic, and I'm really excited about what it's going to become. So, I'm getting started here just now. It's probably started on your end much faster. Speaking of which, I have the webcam on for this episode because I can't remember why I didn't. I think because of the format, the way the format is for the Let's Draw videos. The very first time it was because it just didn't work, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have the episode go up. And then I decided I liked the format without the webcam, but today I was like, you know what, let's do the webcam. There's no longer the issue that I used to have where I didn't have enough space on my hard drive. Now I have 2 hard drives, and now I can do all this nonsense. So I can have my face, which isn't very entertaining right now because I'm really focused. I'm like laser focused. This is actually the second time that I've started recording this episode, because the last time I spent so much time talking that I actually forgot to concentrate on drawing. So I actually drew the entire image, and it looked, well, not the entire image, but I drew the image and it was like, wow, I wouldn't even accept this from a 5-year-old. It was really bad, I promise. But anyway, the camera's here, and we're doing a different Slender crossover. Slender is still a thing, like a big thing. I know Envine's source of inspiration for me drawing Slender Man was he was watching a YouTube web series, I think. I can't remember exactly the details, but that's what I read. That's what I got out of it. I don't know if Slender's still a thing. I remember Slender Man being like the first horror game that I ever played, and I was absolutely terrified of it. But then again, I was like 3. I wasn't 3. I was. Why does that tickle me so much? But anyway, I'm drawing the characters that I have for Difference. And if you haven't seen Difference, I highly suggest going over there and checking it out. It's my pride and joy. Like I said, it's my baby. It's my baby comic. My highly superior baby comic to my old webcomic that I did 4 years ago, 5 years ago, probably. But you know, if you're interested, there's probably a link in the description if I haven't said that already. It's a comic about a rabbit and a wolf, and they meet, and stuff happens. Looks like a bunch of bananas. I can't really get much more into that, otherwise we'd be entering spoiler territory. We don't want to do that just yet. And while we're on the subject of the webcomic of Difference, I received a comment the other day that I thought was kind of hilarious. It was a comment like, "Hey, I've been reading this comic for a little while. I'm into it, and by the way, I ship Ruby and Kane so hard it's criminal." And I thought that was absolutely hilarious. Especially because that's what Difference was originally supposed to be about. It was supposed to be a romance story that eventually changed when I decided no. I just decided against it. But you know, if that particular person happens to be watching, I mean, I could bring up an image right now of like the first drawing I ever made of Ruby and Cain when I was first conceptualizing the idea. It's like them sitting in the, what? I don't even know if they're kissing or not. I don't think they are. But they're standing side by side in the moonlight on a hill. And like I was like, this is the best idea. Which is funny because the idea behind difference actually came from another comic. It came from one of my like favorite newspaper comics back when comics were like, they're only on newspaper, you can't read them anywhere else, or unless they're in a collection or something, which I happen to have. I have a whole collection over there on my dresser or something. You could probably see it if you zoom in way over there. Far Side Gallery too. But there was a Far Side comic. Gary Larson, he drew a Far Side comic where there was a wolf and a sheep, and they were standing on a hill in the moonlight. And the whole idea behind difference started with me seeing that and thinking it was absolutely adorable. So I came up with a little story, and then it eventually became difference, and I'm really, really happy with it. And it's really interesting because the Gary Larson strip, it was a sheep and a wolf. It's really interesting that Ruby actually used to be a sheep when I was first like gathering everything, like getting ready to write the comic. I was like, okay, so she's a sheep, and it's interesting. There we go, love story. Go. And then I think it was that I wanted it to take place mostly in the forest where it takes place now. And the thing is, sheeps, I guess, are considered more of a herding animal, like a domesticated human-used animal. And I decided, no, you're probably not going to see a sheep that much in a forest like that. So she became a little bunny rabbit, and I'm really happy with it. Plus, you know, I couldn't figure out how to draw a sheep. So anyway, there you go. Some difference origins. Makes me feel really happy. Honestly, I wish I could actually was faster at drawing and planning, so that I could update more often for difference, because I've got a lot of story ideas that I really, really, really love and really want to share with the world, you know, as the artist does the do. But the thing is, I'm so slow, and I'm usually so busy with either school or work. Work's really tiring sometimes, and then when school and work coincide and they're like, let's just screw with them together. Let's have an awkward school work termination threesome and just screw up his whole week. They like to do that a lot. But you know, I like my job, and school's important, so I guess I'll stick with them. But anyway, I really can't wait until I start getting into the points of Difference's story where I really start getting my audience to be like, what the butt? What the butt? Be like, have all the mysterious stuff come in and like really confuse people. Like, I've already started like thinking about like how pieces of the introduction, how just the introduction will start to fit in with everything that happens later, like way later in the storyline that I've come up with. I really want there to be sometime down the road where someone's like, oh, that's what that was. I've really tried to make a good story that's better than like how I used to write when I was like 13 when I wrote my other comic. It's really awkward. I've done a lot of research for this comic too. I've like actually sat down and looked up stuff. I sat there for a while just looking at an article about Timberwolves so that I could get like a feel on who exactly or what exactly Kane's race of wolves would be like. And so I spent a while doing that. You know, it's a lot of fun sitting here on a computer just looking up stuff you don't it's really boring sometimes. Anyone who's read my comic knows about the point where Ruby breaks both her wrist and her ankle in the same day, and she eventually gets a makeshift splint, and so I actually sat and did research on what an actual splint looks like, and kind of invented a makeshift splint from that information. And I hope it looks good. I bet you a real doctor someday will be like, you know what? That's not right. That's not a splint. You did bad and you're a bad artist. And then I'll be sad, and then I'll just feel like a failure my entire life, and then I'll never make comics again or something. And then other people will be sad, and other people just won't give a crap. No one will care. And then because this is the internet, I'll realize that, wait a minute, that's not a real doctor. He's just a guy pretending he's an expert on stuff. And then everything will be fine, and then we'll have comics again. Woo. So I asked this in the last video, the last Let's Draw video. I asked, hey, so how's school going for everybody? So I'll probably ask that again. How's school going for everybody? Is school cool? Is school still cool? I don't know. People might not think... People might have, like, harsh opinions of school now. I don't know. I know it's good. I had to do a speech. Not necessarily a speech, but it was for a speech class, in which I had to pretend to be an anchorman and give a newscast about the day of my birth. And I did a funny voice and actually made it more of a comedy sketch than anything. Because I had the opportunity to act like someone other than myself, I completely just made it absolutely ridiculous. And best yet, I found out that that on the day I was born, the 38th episode of Pokemon aired. And the thing about the 38th episode of Pokemon is that it gave 685 children from Japan, gave them all seizures. And, like, that was the darkest thing I'd ever seen, so I had some dark humor littered about in my speech, in my pretending to be a newscaster, a fictional newscaster. And it's like a horrible thing and all that happened back then. But for some reason, when I read the article on it, I thought it was the most hilarious thing. I was like, this is what happened on my birthday? And you know, I guess Bill Clinton named his dog, but who cares about that, right? Current events. The Nintendo Switch is coming out. Hooray! I can't wait for it to come out. Actually, more likely, I can't wait. Not more likely. What's the words that are coming out of my mouth? It's more like I'm excited for the new Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm really excited about that game. I'm really excited about Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm even like going through extreme lengths in order, like, saving money and stuff so that I can get the equipment in order to let's play it on the channel, because I'm that excited about it. I want to, like, share my experience with everybody. Like, for my first time playing it, just sitting there having a good time together. It's gonna be awesome. I spent so long not being able to see the trailer. I finally got the opportunity to see the trailer the other day, and was like blown away, and was like, I need to buy this game. I need it. I need it in my life. I need it right now. So I've been saving for the past few months in order to get to get a Switch, which apparently they're out of pre-orders for some reason. Pre-orders just disappeared. I guess I can't pre-order it. I just have to wait until a physical machine comes in or something. Yeah, saying that now that I'm like, oh, well, I'm gonna let's play this as soon as I can. I remember, I'm having flashbacks to the first time I was like, I promise that I'm gonna play this game. I don't think I ever actually said it, but it was actually another Zelda game that I was like, I promise I'm gonna play this on the channel. And I spent so long trying to figure out how to do it, and then it never worked out. It was Zelda Link Between Worlds. I spent a little while trying to figure out the technology behind it. I ended up finding the exact wrong source, and then later finding out that it was impossible without a regular 3DS, and I had the giant one, so I couldn't, which was really sad. And it's funny because this was during the very beginning of my channel when I already had a Zelda game I was playing. It was a fan game, and like I stopped playing it because I was like, well, there's got to be room for the other Zelda game. So the series that after that was just died before it even began. I would go back to it, except I feel like it would be a really weird gap in between, like the episode where I was sitting there not knowing what to do, because I remember that episode. I was just like, all right, Joe, I don't know what to do, even though I'd already played that game, and I was like, I had played the game before, but somehow I had completely forgotten how to play it. But you know, it's fine. Nobody cared about that game anyway. But it was a good game. I remember when I first played it and thought it was genius. I just realized how much taller Cain actually is than Ruby, because I realized there was a part in the comic where he's actually carrying her, and she looked really small, and I was like, man, she's small. But like I looked at the dimensions like to what my original sketch looked like, and was like, yeah, that matches. I mean, like the lengths of their legs, that I had made, just everything. I realized like it's right, but it's still putting them right next to each other sometimes is really weird for me. Because I don't think I mentioned this yet. There was the original concept picture I made. Yeah, I think I already mentioned this. But they were originally the same height. And then I was like, no, she needs to be super short. She needs to be short as heck. And it's gonna be awesome. And it is. She's so dang short. I mean, I realize it's my fault that she's so dang short. But come on. Drink your milk, for crying out loud. Okay, well, this is a very simply done version of what Envine told me to draw. This is very simplified. I think I'm going to be adding to it. So, don't worry about that. The new, improved, colored version should be... Whoa, where'd it come from? Marv put it in. He put it in. Good job, Marv. I already know, I know in my head what it's gonna look like, but you see it right now, so it might be good, it might be not, but whatever. Point is, we did a Let's Draw, and I'm really glad, I'm glad with what the Slender Man looked like. I mean, I was sitting there drawing this Slender Man, and I've said I'm a really slow drawer, but, I was so purely concentrated on Slender Man that I couldn't actually think of anything to talk about while I was drawing him. It's kind of hilarious, but whatever. And he's got a big old smiley mouth, because that's how I pictured him. I guess I could have put that in. If you have any more suggestions for another possible Let's Draw, you could probably leave them in not in the description, as I was about to say, but in the comments, or you could also check on my DeviantArt for whenever I pop up a status that says, hey, I'm going to be doing a Let's Draw if anyone has suggestions. You could also put them there, and I really hope more people get in on this. It's mostly been Envine. And also, if you feel like it, you could also go check out the other things on my channel about the video games and stuff. I just got a whole series on Owlboy finished. It's the best game I've ever played in my life. But I don't know, you guys do what you want to do. Do your do, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching this Let's Draw. This has been fantastic. I hope you guys had a good time. You guys have a fantastic day today, and I'll see you all next time. Good night. This is my apartment, you jackwagon. Trying to tell me I'm trespassing. You're the one trespassing, jerk. Get over here, get into my bed. Everybody will think you're a sleepy bye, and no one will suspect it. When I said have a fantastic day today, it doesn't necessarily mean just today. It means every day. Have a fantastic day every day. Please. Just so there's no confusion.